My reading list this month is really small, and I'm sorry about that. But I do have a couple of good books for you and a couple of good recommendations. Okay, so this is my May stack. It is very small. It is very small, but there is a good reason for this. I found out that I'm fighting lupus, and that's what's been wrong with me for the last several years, is it's been lupus. I'm going through some more testing, but yeah, I kind of got the unofficial confirmation a couple weeks ago at the beginning of May, so there hasn't been a whole lot of time for reading because I've been kind of trying to find my new normal, and part of that has been being on this like really strict elimination diet to help control my symptoms. And it's working, it's just I spend a lot of time in the kitchen. Oh my goodness, you guys, I am constantly making food. Now I like to cook, so it's not so bad for me because I like being in the kitchen, I like cooking, I like doing those things. But it has really eaten into my book time. I might have to start looking at like audiobooks or something because I just don't have the time lately to sit on the couch. So, yeah, we're not looking at many books today, but it's okay. I got some good recommendations for you anyway. Okay, so the first book, well, actually the first couple of books, I feel like the first book is kind of like a couple of books combined, is one of my Kindle books, okay? So I read, if you've watched my book reviews since last fall, then you know that I have been reading a series called the Holly series. It's a Christian suspense series, and it is not for everybody, okay? The Holly series is a Christian series. It's Christian suspense, but there is some violent crime in this. You're dealing with a violent crimes victim, and the other main character is the detective that's been helping her, who has become like her father, and she lives with him at this point. It's a father-daughter relationship, nothing like that going on. It's a great series. I don't have a problem with it. I know a lot of people probably would. Again, it's not for everybody. You know what I mean? Like this series is not for everybody, but I enjoy it. So I continued that series. I'm almost at the end of the series. I think there's only 2 more books after the one that I just read. So the first book that I read in the month of May was actually a novella. So it's only like, I don't know, like 200 pages, maybe tops. And it was a Christmas novella where Holly goes back to Marx's parents' house for Christmas, and Marx is the detective who's been helping her. It's a really sweet book, and we get a good look at Marx and his parents and how they heal their relationship. Really cute book. I like that one. But again, you know, as far as content warnings, you know, you're dealing with a violent crimes victim. She's very scarred, very guarded, and some of those crimes, although not described in full detail or anything like that, you kind of get a picture of what happened to her, so just be aware of that. And you will have to go back. This is not something that you can just pick up in the middle. You need to go back to the very first Holly series book, and I will have the information for that down below. So the next book in the series I read, because I jumped right into the next one, is actually from Marx's point of view, and that one was called Imperfect Justice. Now, I believe this is the second book from Marx's point of view. I read one in April from Marx's point of view. This is the second book. So we kind of flip back and forth between 2 series, but they're the same family of people. But the events go in a sequence. So you don't get the full picture if you don't go back and forth between these series, but it's okay because the author tells you at the end of one book what is the next book to read to make this whole complete picture. So Imperfect Justice was the next book in the series, where we see Colin, the foster brother who assaulted our main character, goes to court, and he has to answer for his crimes. Now this is the book, if you have been reading any of the Holly books, this is the book you've been waiting on, is to see like justice prevail and to see this man go behind bars for the rest of his life. There were several super big surprises in this one, like several plot twists, and I was like, I devoured that book. It was such a good read. I don't want to give anything away for any Holly readers, but really good book. I was very satisfied with it, but just know that there's a lot of talk of the crimes that happened here, and it's very difficult for Holly to get through that for obvious reasons. It's, you know, heavy on what happened to her. So I would not say these are for teen readers. I would say these are more adult books. But these are Christian. I do want to mention though, these are Christian books and they are tame in that realm. So the next book I read, the actual first physical book I read, was The Italian Ballerina. And I saw and read so much about this book that I had to get it. I have mixed feelings on The Italian Ballerina. Okay. First, I want to say this is a Christian book set in World War II, and it flips back and forth between two points of view. Okay, so we have, you know, Rome, Italy, during World War II, and that's with our main character there is Julia. And then in present day, we have Rome and we have the main character, Delaney. So we have two main female characters here. But the confusion is all over the place with this book. And it took me a long time to actually like get into this book. And I think at one point, I just wanted to finish it because I just needed to know what happened at the end. I was not over the moon about this book because of how much they flip back and forth. Not between the two main characters. Like I can handle like a split point of view. Like I love split point of view type books. My problem was it's not just that they did a split point of view and they were going back and forth between two timelines. They were going back and forth between multiple timelines during the multiple points of view. So during the World War II section, you were bouncing back and forth between like 1935, 1930, 1945. And it was just like all over the place. And it was so hard for me to keep track. And I think part of that is because I have lupus and it's really hard for me sometimes with the brain fog and like memory lapses to keep those things like in line in my brain like they used to. Like maybe in my 20s before, you know, this stuff really like manifested, I could have been able to do that easier. But now it was very hard for me to do that. So the constant like jumping all over the place and like having these storylines, like multiple storylines within one storyline was really, really hard for me to focus on. And I think I missed a lot of details. That's my major gripe with this book. And I went into Goodreads and I was reading the reviews, and it seems like anyone that had a low review for this book was kind of saying the same thing, that it was really hard to keep track of the actual storyline because we were finding out about these characters in their younger lives that led them up to what was going on now. Now, it got easier as the book went on and as the storylines went on, but man, it was hard for me to follow this book. I will say that. As far as the book as a whole, it is a great story. It really is. And you find out some of these like small details about World War II that, you know, are not really like common knowledge. So I'll say that the book is really well done, really well researched. The history of it is really neat, but it's hard to follow for somebody like me. It was a little bit hard to follow, but overall it is a good book. It's an adult book. I would not recommend that for teen readers. I would say unless they're really mature and can handle that, I would say probably adult. You can tell it was probably written for adults, but that's something that I would have been able to handle as a teenager. So I can't say, you know, you can't give that book to your teenagers. I would have been able to handle that as a teen, but you know, if you have sensitive readers, I would say probably not. So after that book, I didn't read another book for like 2 or 3 weeks because I was so focused on cooking and getting my food ready for for this like elimination diet that I'm on for my lupus, that I have not been able to actually fully finish a book since The Italian Ballerina. I am halfway through The Vanishing at Castle Moreau by Jamie Jo Wright. I actually got this book for Mother's Day. My husband took me to the bookstore for Mother's Day because that's what we do in my house. I go to the bookstore, and it's out of town. So I don't know how I feel about this book yet. I'm struggling through this book. And it's not because it's hard to follow or anything. It's a great Jamie Jo Wright book. It's just, I don't know, I'm not into it. Like, I feel like I had a great book month in April, and like this month I'm just kind of like, nah, you know, it is what it is. I haven't found one that like knocks it out of the park in a while, like since last month. So I don't know what my rating on this one is going to be. I'm more than halfway through, and I just don't feel like I'm like into the book yet. Like, it's not like a book that I am thinking about when I'm doing other things, you know. Like, if it's a 5-star book for me, then I have a hard time concentrating on other things because I'm too busy thinking about the book that I have laying on my table. But I'm not there with this book. Like, I don't know what it is. And it's like, it's not a bad book. Like, it is okay. Like, maybe I just don't like love the storyline. I don't know, but I love Jamie Jo Wright. Like her book that released last month, The Predicament on, no, what is it? Night Falls on Predicament Avenue. Loved that one. I loved it, and like I love most of her writing. The only book of hers that I didn't like was Barlow Theater that came out, I think, last October. I wasn't a big fan. This one, it's not like Barlow Theater level, but I'm trudging through it. Like, I don't know. I'm dragging my feet. So that's all I've read. Like, I feel like this is so short. That's all I've read for the entire month. But it's okay because I've been busy and I have been active, and I'm working on running again, and you know, I'm doing things. Like, I'm active. I'm not down on the couch as much, and that's why I'm not reading. When my back was really bad, I was down on the couch. So it makes sense that now I'm more active and I'm up again, that I'm reading less. So I don't know, it's kind of a bummer for me because I love my books, and like it's like a piece that's missing in my life right now while I'm doing all these things. But I'm hoping to maybe look at some audiobooks. I don't know. And hopefully I'll be able to read some more books and things when things kind of slow down this summer, but we'll see. Things are very busy though right now. Like, my son has his SATs this week and things like that. So like, we have just been go, 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 I feel like, for weeks. I don't feel like I've sat down in like 3 weeks, but it's okay. It's good busy. It's not bad busy. So we got that going on, and I'm hoping to get some more books. Like, I have a couple more books on my shelf that I haven't read yet, and I'm excited to start those. I don't know if I'm gonna finish this one. Like, okay. Tell me what you would do, readers. Would you finish a book just to finish it? Or would you put it down and pick up something else? I need to know this. Like, do I put this back on the shelf and maybe try it again later? Or do I just finish it? I'm like 60% of the way through right now. Tell me what to do. Do I finish it? I don't know. I need your advice. Tell me down below in the comments. Should I finish it, or should I just DNF it and get a new book? I have several other books. I actually have another Jamie Jo Wright book that's waiting for me too, that I got for Mother's Day. I scored at the bookstore. They had a bunch of Jamie Jo Wright books, and I grabbed 2 of them that I didn't have. So I have some waiting for me. Tell me what to do in the comments. All right, that's all I have for this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and happy homeschooling.